Okay, so the exercise we're demonstrating here is the kettlebell deadlift. This is probably the starting position for a lot of people for their deadlift variation. And it is a good place to start because we can have a reasonably light weight, and it can be an easier way to get people to teach people to bend through the hips properly. So just going to get Lisa to do step forward and actually bend through the hips to pick the weight up to start with. That's it, just making sure the weight's nice and close to the body until you lift up. So Lisa coming back up. Good. Okay, so once we're into this position, the main thing that we want to do is make sure our knees are nice and soft. We don't bend the knees too much. We don't want them hyperextended either. We just want them nice and soft. So we're standing in that nice soft position, drawing the belly on, and also making sure that our shoulders are set back this way. So Lisa should now feel her lats on, hopefully. If we've got them on, we are a lot more likely to keep a nice neutral position. So now the movement is initiated by just bending in the hips. So we do need to make sure that we do distinguish between the deadlift and the squat. With the deadlift, we are making sure we are initiating movement through the hips and not the knees as we drop down into a squat. So whenever you're doing this, try to keep that in mind if you can. All the movement should be through the hips. As we get more range, we'll then use the knees, but particularly initially, just bend through the hips. So I need Lisa to shoulders back just a touch, and then she's just going to hips backwards and she's going to lean forwards, also keeping the chin tucked in, so we've got a nice straight line, and head all the way through the spine. That's it. When you get to that full range, coming back up and squeezing the glutes as you bring the hips forward. And again, Lisa, really good. You can see Lisa's nice and neutral through here. Good. One thing you do need to be careful of too with the kettlebell, because the kettlebell is to the front, a lot of people, if they do have limited range from the shoulders, they will round through the shoulders there. So if you do find that you feel like you are doing this, or someone points out that you are doing this, you may need another option with your deadlift. We'll also be demonstrating another variation that we can do as well. But if we're standing in that position, we can get our shoulders back without having to lift the kettlebell up. We don't want to be lifting it up this way. We want it to be a dead weight. If you get into that position, you should be fine. Just one more rep there, Lisa. Tuck in. As we come back up, breathing out, squeezing your hips, squeezing your glutes, and making sure we get full extension. Okay, so the exercise we've got here is the cable deadlift. This is a really good place to start for people when they're just getting into their deadlifting movement. So once you've learned how to hinge properly and bend forward holding a neutral spine, this is a really good place to start. A couple of reasons for this, which we'll see once Lisa has the handles, is we can get our hands into a different position. And if you are tight to the shoulders, just it's a little bit easy to make sure we are maintaining that neutral position and make sure our lats are working in this movement as well. So I'm going to first get Lisa to demonstrate a couple of different ways to actually pick the weight up. So depending on your mobility, you'll need to choose what you can do here. So Lisa, I'll just get you to bend forward at the hips with a even stance. So what Lisa's going to do here now is nice and soft at the knees, bending forward. And you can see even with Lisa, she's just rounding just that little bit through here because the handles are quite low to the ground. So she then uses the knees, she can maintain a bit more of a neutral spine. So Lisa, coming standing up. Yep, so you actually pick it up that way for us, Lisa. Yep, that's it, nice and low. That's it, maintaining that and then coming up. So Lisa has pretty good mobility. Even she struggled just that little bit to pick the cables up with a neutral spine. If we're demonstrating with a lightweight, that's fine. If you are getting into a heavier deadlift load, that can be quite hard to do. So a way to get around that is I'm now going to get Lisa to get into a split stance. So walk forward and walk past the handles just a touch, that's it. And she's now into a split stance, chest up, and now we can get the handles and we're in a lot more neutral position there. So once we're there, a lot safer way to pick up, particularly as we get heavier weight. So Lisa, what I want to get you to do now is I'm just going to get you to take a step forward. That's it, just a little bit more. So what we can do now we've got the hands back almost in line with the hips. So Lisa, you could even go forward just that little bit more. And I'm also going to get Lisa to demonstrate starting with a neutral grip. So as we've got the chest up nice and high, as we get into that neutral grip, we should externally rotate the shoulders, hopefully get a little bit more lat activation, so therefore having a neutral spine. Hopefully once we get to that end range of the movement. So Lisa's going to have nice soft legs. We're going to initiate the movement by pushing the hips back and just tilting forward, keeping that chin tucked in. Getting to end range where she's not rounding at all, and then coming up nice and strong, squeeze the hips, getting into full extension. So vision upright, chest high, hips coming all the way forward, trying to squeeze the glutes as we do that move. And coming back up as well. Good. Okay, what I'm going to get Lisa to do now is, once again, depending on your mobility, if you are quite tight to the shoulders, it might be a little bit hard for you to suppinate your grip this way. But once again, if you are feeling like you are falling forward, it is a variation of the grip that you can choose. So just going to get Lisa now to turn the palms forward this way, standing up nice and tall. Hopefully we'll get a little bit better lat activation. Okay, and same movement, soft knees, hips backwards, keeping the chin tucked in. Down, getting to your end range, up and squeezing forward. That's good. Okay, so also once we are putting the weight down as well, try to get out of the habit of losing your form when you're putting the weight down. We should either do it as a deadlift movement. Lisa will do that fine, but if you are struggling with your range, I'll get you into a split stance again there, Lisa, and then we drop into a split squat where we can have a lot more neutral spine, and then we are not flexing through the spine where we can put our spine in some danger.